So I'm just on my way to pick up some greens for this evening. I picked up some herbs this morning on a quick walk and realised that I didn't have anything a bit more substantial to put with them. So I wanted to get some vegetables, some wild vegetables, and just came across this on my way down there, which is the most gorgeous patch of common hogweed. And I don't think we've covered this yet, so I wanted to show you what it looks like. This is obviously quite a young plant, it's quite early in the growing season. So it will have a great big flower stem with a big umbel, like many of the, or all of the Apiaceae, but similarly to a lot of them, it's kind of relatively big and white flowered. So from a distance can look a bit like cow parsley and things like that. The leaves are quite distinctive on this though, so that really helps us to identify. I actually think it's one of the easier Apiaceae to identify. It has these leaf stems that have multiple leaves off the stem. So the one on the end, the terminal leaf I guess, is lobed like this. So either 3 or sometimes looks more like 5 lobes. And then going down the leaf stem, sorry my shadow's making it difficult, it has these kind of equal sides, pairs of pinnate leaves coming off. And again, some of the lower ones, the bigger ones, will look kind of lobed. It does have a slightly unpleasant bigger cousin. So giant hogweed, many people have heard of, and you don't want to eat that, I don't suppose. It's got a bit of a reputation because if you get the sap on your skin, it makes you very photosensitive, so it can cause some really nasty blisters and things if it's a sunny day, and that can last for a very long time, so you're advised then to cover or wear very high factor sun protection for a long time after you've been exposed. All of, or many of the Apiaceae family can have a similar effect, but much less pronounced. So common hogweed for some people, if they get the sap on their skin, can cause burns and blisters. So can common parsnip, like we grow in our gardens. So just something to be aware of, but not to be too worried about while we're picking. You can always wear gloves if you're concerned about getting sap on your skin. I've never worn gloves just for picking shoots like I'm about to do, or picking the flower buds or the seeds that I use later on in the year. And I've never been burnt. But good to be aware of what the situation is with them. The stems are the next thing we need to cover from an identification perspective. So you can see these ones are mostly green. They can fade in and out of purple as well. You can see on the ridges of this one, quite purple. What they won't be, which helps differentiate them from giant hogweed, is blotched or splattered with red. So giant hogweed has green stems with red blotches or splatters on them. Common hogweed, much like cow parsley, can fade in and out of purple and green, but won't be blotchy. Both are hairy on the stems, but the hairs are kind of sharper looking, I guess, short and hard looking on giant hogweed, and they tend to have a particularly harsh ring of them around the bottom of the leaf stems where they attach, whereas on this the hairs are relatively soft. The giant hogweed will also have much pointier, sharper looking leaves, so these are relatively round and soft looking. On the giant hogweed it has quite sharp looking, aggressive leaves. It's also, like the name suggests, much bigger. So a leaf of giant hogweed would be like considerably bigger. I'm not sure what measurements, I've never measured them, but you really can tell from a distance that it's giant hogweed. Even when it's young, it's very big and very sharp looking. So the part that I'm going to take today for eating is the young shoots, and we've got a couple in here that are sort of furled in. For me, this feels a little big, this one. It's starting to unfurl and you can see the greens. But these in here, these are perfect. This is just what I'm looking for. And if we get one out, and if you pick them, you can see that they're kind of furled up, and on the underside, and this is true of the bigger leaves as well, on the underside they've got all these little little soft downy hairs that give them a really silvery appearance on the underside of the leaves, and that gives the whole young shoot, because it's curled up, inwards gives the whole young shoot this amazing kind of silvery look about it. And these are the parts that I like to eat at this time of year, and I just steam them very lightly, like asparagus, I guess, looking to preserve a bit of texture rather than cooking them to mush. And they will be a perfect accompaniment to the fish that I'm going to cook myself in a little while after I get back. I'm going to carry on picking. You should definitely, if you have the opportunity, get out and have a little forage. It's absolutely glorious outside at the moment, and everything is just coming into its own in terms of greens and foraging. You can probably see I'm not even covering them because there's just too many to do at once, but there's such a massive variety of plants in the hedgerows and on the edges of fields and things at the moment. It would be a shame not to. Do press like and subscribe. It's a free way for you to support the channel and what I'm doing, and hoping to extend that reach to more people and get more people out foraging. Enjoy your weekend.